and I am being told it is that time that we've all been waiting for, the next run. Who doesn't love that time? Let me send you to Elevator Action Returns by
E aparentemente, o jogo vai começar. Então, parem.
Hi, I'm Gong Xian, also known as the Opponent Online, and for my Games Done Quick debut, I'm running the 1995 arcade game Elevator Action Returns by Taito. This is a port to the Sega Saturn released in Japan in 1997. It is a sequel to the 1981 arcade game Elevator Action, and while it has some superficial similarities to it,
Não era isso que eu estava esperando do jogo, para ser sincero.
different in gameplay and style. So let's begin here. And the first difference is that there are 3 playable characters. They're all very different from one another, and I'm selecting 80 Burrit.
Essa versão aí tem 3 bonecos diferentes.
1. Let's begin. Like the original Elevator Action, the objective is to enter all of the red doors in these enemy strongholds and escape to the exit at usually the bottom of the structure unharmed. There's some short load times with each stage, but all the better to get you ready for the action.
Pequeno loading ali.
The original game, you'll begin at the top of this high rise. And
você começa no topo, você tem que entrar em algumas portas específicas e chegar na parte de baixo desse prédio. Ali ele deu um pequeno damage boost, tomou o dano para poder cair da plataforma. Normalmente você morre se você cair do andar, mas como ele tinha tomado dano, ele fica invulnerável durante o tempo depois de tomar o dano e consegue cair um andar de boas.
So I'm jumping here as often as I can because it is very slightly faster than running, which gives me a greter chance to defeat
pular é um pouquinho mais rápido, simplesmente então ele vai ficar pulando. Damage boost é esse negócio que ele toma dano, ele fica invulnerável durante o tempo. Aí geralmente os runners usam tomar dano como uma forma de pular por alguma coisa ou atravessar alguma área que ele normalmente não teria atravessado. Tipo, você tomar dano para você poder atravessar um espinho que normalmente te mataria de primeira, mas como você está invulnerável depois de tomar dano, você pode atravessar aquele pedaço, coisas assim.
And I take 2 hops there, as those armed drones will only find targets if you are on the ground when they touch down. So if you are not on the ground, they will find no targets and simply leave you be. Now, Stage 2 introduces the concept of aerial combat, which was not an element of the original game. And so I'm trying to defeat these jetpack men as soon as possible before they touch down, where they take 1 hit in the air but 2 on the ground. Their movement is completely random, so I am at the mercy of RNG.
Essa parte é meio RNG, então ele está tendo que se ajustar às coisas que estão acontecendo.
3 hops here, and we'll enter Darius Airlines. Position ourselves at the exit row and simply mash away. Elevator Action, the original game, was very heavily inspired by 1960s spy movies.
Bate é simples, só você baixa e aperta o botão mais rápido possível.
It's very much a pastiche of action movies. And to accommodate that, the action is much faster paced. Quick shot. So, on the surface, this is considered a run and gun game, but it's quite a tactical one in that you cannot move and shoot at the same time. You must therefore be much more meticulous in your movement, deciding when to move, when to shoot, and how often. And I took another damage boost there, where earlier I said you could fall down 1 floor, and survive if you're in invincibility period. But
eu tô vendo mais action do que elevator, sério.
So long as you're 1 pixel above what would be the floor of 2 stories below, you will survive only during invincibility.
Tá comentando que se você tiver cair, mas você cair 1 pixel acima do que seria a altura de insta-kill, tá tudo de boa.
His personal zeppelin spreading his message of anarchy, and we must put a stop to that. Okay, going along fine. Shout out to the destroyer from jail. Click the entrance there. No one around to see it, but stage 3, now I must use a method that I call elevator manipulation. Elevators will only move up and down to the portions of their shafts that are visible on screen. So I must now control the screen scroll very carefully to ensure the elevators only move the directions I want them to at the times I want them to. You can see that the elevator only moved downward.
Ele tá manipulando pouco a movimentação dos elevadores. Ele tá manipulando a posição dos elevadores porque os elevadores só meio que só se movem quando ele tá na tela. Então, atrasando um pouco, ele conseguiu controlar a posição do elevador.
The rest of the building here is unfinished. I take the machine gun here the only time I choose to, simply for safety.
Não matou o Chico, só deu umas batidinhas no Chico para não matar os dog ali.
Occasionally those boxes contained bombs, and they did not this time. And we just have to very carefully negotiate this maze, and we're going to take the short way. If we can make this jump, and this jump, and okay. Very important you learn to manipulate the elevators if you're running for speed, because this stage only moves upward after the first segment. Take away these as well.
Essa fase é bastante importante você controlar a posição dos elevadores. Não se perde bastante tempo. Roll time ali, infelizmente. E com isso ele acabou perdendo o ciclo dos elevadores, perdendo uma quantidade boa de tempo. Ali ele ativou o elevador e saiu do elevador para poder controlar um pouco a posição do elevador na hora de ir e voltar.
Now, I was hoping that item container would contain life, and it did not, so we just need to take extra caution here and open fire when the 5th man exits the Apache. And to eliminate these enemies as quickly as possible, I'll simply...
Infelizmente não pegou um drop de vida, então ele vai ter que ser bem mais cuidadoso agora.
Or the boss of this stage appears. This is stage 3 of 6. Only now will we see a boss. I took another hit. And another point to mention that action returns grants you only 2 lives, with no opportunity to gain more. There are no life items, and there are no 1-ups to gain from score. So we just need to take these red men out best we can. And I had this category listed as 1CC, which stands for 1 credit clear, to simply complete this game without continuing, and that means doing it with only 2 lives. I have done it under more harrowing conditions. Let's see if I can repeat that.
Ele tá sem vida extra, então ele pode acabar ripando a run de um credit continue, que ele tem que terminar o jogo só com essas 2 vidas. Que as 2 vidas que ele tinha no início, né? Agora ele não tem mais. Então bora torcer para que tudo dê certo a partir de agora.
While the debriefing for this mission calls this the underground, this is a sewer level. And we need to treat it like one. Right in here. Oh, this light. Take it for safety. Don't need that machine gun. Not where we are going. I have to be careful to avoid using the close range melee attacks. EDs in particular is not entirely useful compared to the others. These hover tanks will be quite the menace later on, but manageable here. I can grenade off this fall because it's cool. And lament that you missed yet another cycle. Don't blink.
Perdeu outro ciclo ali dos elevadores. Mas tudo bem. Foi só um pouco de tempo.
This is the only stage that ends with all enemies exploding when you enter the final door. Not entirely sure why that is.
Muito bom a execução dele ali.
Would have been quite the thing to have that happen more often as a symbol of your victory. Stage 5, clearing it at all is it's a carnival of all manner of complex tech, and I'll explain the best I can as I
Acredito que
proceed.
não seja a última fase,
First thing
porque
I'll do is
geralmente eles falam missão final, né?
because you begin each level with invincibility. Take the L and run past this wall of hazards with no concern for your own safety. Just take a moment also to let's get an opportunity to see it later, but how visually stunning this pixel artwork from the mid-90s is in the arcades, and especially the animation of those men burning to nothing. Now here is a section that I call the 5 elevators, and it is the source of much grief for any kind of 1cc because you need all 5 of these elevators to behave properly according to your plan, and any enemy that comes out of these doors can override it with no input on your part. But I needed to do all of that so I would not miss this elevator and lose even more time. So it's a simple.
Eu consigo ali controlar um pouco a posição dos elevadores. Seria bastante complicado caso desse errado.
Quite difficult to do in the best of times to optimize this particular part of the stage. The music stops here to.
E dependia muito de jogar certo e os e da sorte mesmo. RNG.
After this next part, I will manipulate elevators further. And there are now turrets in the wall.
Manipulou um pouco os elevadores.
I haven't. I hesitated at that turret.
Se enrolou um pouco ali, então deu errado.
Without missing a single beat. We'll leave that man in the restroom to his own devices.
Mas mesmo assim funcionou.
And here is one of the more precarious parts of the game. Just a long trek down. So I'm just in time to enter that man's blind spot. Here. Another elevator jam to manipulate cycles. And hopefully doing so will disrupt the scrolling of the screen so that these elevators will stay in their initial positions for longer. Enough time for me to simply jump onto them, and there's the end of the stage, and Red Suit makes another appearance. Take one pot shot at him for a bonus 2000 points.
Ele fez tudo certo ali, então os elevadores estavam nas posições certas.
And then we take a bath. Off to the final mission.
E esse era o final da fase. E agora sim, vai ser a missão final.
No map of this area, so we simply have to play it by ear. So I have no lives but full health. And this is the stage where I discovered the elevator jamming technique. Well, while you are typically not able to cancel your animation while you're standing on an elevator, you can control it. And then move on to this elevator here, and here's a moment you can read donations. There's nothing much to do here.
You got it. Here is a
Well,
$25 donation
não muita coisa vai
from
acontecer.
Fridge, who said,
A gente queria
"At
escolher
first I
o
thought having
elevador da
additional
esquerda.
GDQ would be odd or missing something.
Então
Now I feel
foi
like
dele.
this setting makes everything more intimate and cozy. Thank you for your continued work. Y'all are amazing." Also, Nizumi is trying some speedrun strats on
Da
a
esquerda,
different
como vocês podem ver,
topic. $50
é mais
here.
próximo de
Hi,
onde ele
I'm
tinha aqui.
donating this money trying to underflow my bank account. I'm not sure if I hit the right frame, but fingers crossed.
Now, here comes even more danger. Much higher rate of enemy spawns here. Now that I'm getting even closer to the inner sanctum of Red Suit.
Nesse ponto tem
These two stories above me are some of the most
spawn maior de
deceptive
inimigos,
parts of the
então
game.
essa área é bem perigosa.
In these center doors, enemies will spawn at a very high rate and you have nowhere to hide. So we'll just take it as slowly as we can, put bombs here for safety.
Nas portas do centro
If we need to.
é onde a maioria dos inimigos vai nascer.
Simply missed the red door. And that item box there contained life, so we got some reprieve. This cycle. Here's the final section of the game.
Sim, as animações desse jogo são muito boas.
To foil Red Suit's plans once and for all. Move one story up. When an elevator moves up, we'll make our move. Okay, we take a little bit of damage. Now while we wait for that to come up, take another shot. We'll wait another cycle for the elevator on the top right to move up again.
Gustavo. Tá esperando o ciclo dessas. Ih, rapaz, ele errou ali. Tá esperando o ciclo do choque, mas ele acabou errando o time nos inimigos.
Consider what time I have left, and here is the final confrontation of the game. There is Red Suit himself, and if I aim these bombs correctly, I can move the elevator while I do my bomb throw animation, and it will simply land at his feet with no intervention from me.
O que ele quer fazer é acertar a granada no lugar certo para quando...
Wait, where's my rendezvous? I need to get out of here. And that's elevator action return.
E GG. O que ele fez ali foi ativar jogar a granada e ativar o elevador para mudar a posição do lançamento da granada, conseguir fazer a granada bater no chão e cair em cima do pé do boss.
And this is no exception. And we can see the credits here of the arcade and Saturn port staff.
Bom, esse foi o Elevator Action. Joguinho legal.
Seeing it at MagFest is a yearly gaming event held in Maryland.
Bem legal a animação do jogo, bem feita. A arte. Espero que vocês tenham gostado.
Taito Legends 2 for the PlayStation 2. I never got 1cc on it. So I decided when I got home I would finally learn it, and decided why not learn to speedrun it at the same time. I had to use the Sega Saturn version because unfortunately Taito Legends 2 runs this game slower than the arcade hardware, but this one runs it correctly. And as soon as these credits end, that'll be it for me. Thank you everyone and all of for your support of GDQ and their beneficiaries. Thank you for having me. And as soon as I enter my initials, that'll be enough of me.
Ele tá esperando ali o crédito. Muito obrigado, Victor, por atualizar o título e o jogo.
Another bonus with this version, you can play the original elevator action The only port available for it in 1997. I got this background. It's very nice pixel art. 1995. Thank you all again. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, everyone.
Olha, ele tá em quinto, ruimzão.
And thank you too to the opponent there for that wonderful run. Elevator action returns. Loving that, as are some of our viewers here. Arathom donating $25, saying was not expecting elevator action to be a nice
Próximo jogo,
run
Terminator, Skynet, depois Hello Neighbor, Quest for Glory, Contra Rebirth, Puzzle Bubble 2 e A Short Hike.
Let's see, I need to move on in the marathon soon, but